Culture Trap Podcast. It's your boy Kane Rawls. Man, I got one for you today.
Man,
I got one of my, I'm just honored to even know this person. I think it was like luck. Our paths crossed, and he found me. Just a freelancer online, and he needed some work for a video, and just
wait, hold on. I didn't just find you, bro. Like, I vetted you. I looked at your material and the quality of your work, man. It was a no-brainer. But go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, he vetted me.
Yeah.
But I love to introduce you tonight to Otis D. Oh, excuse me, Odis D. James III. He's an entrepreneur. He's a real estate broker, a real estate investor, philanthropist, you name it. Just an all-around good brother, and I'm just honored to have you in my presence tonight.
Right on, man. I'm glad to be here, bro. I like good energy. I like being around people with good energy. So this is right in my wheelhouse, man. This is way comfortable for me. So
man,
let's get it.
I can't wait. So, how can I start this? I wanted to ask you some questions about credit and business and stuff, but I wanted to give my perspective too. So,
yeah.
When I was younger, I'm not that old now, but when I was younger, I was paying rent every year.
Mm-hmm.
And, with rent, every year the rent jumps.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, we were living in like a condo townhouse. It was pretty nice size, but I started paying $1,200 and we renewed $1,300.
Yeah.
And then it was time to renew again. It was like $1,450. It was like, oh my God, but I don't want to go backwards and get just a regular apartment. I wanted to get a house. And the stigma with most black people, when you start talking about anything credit, we finna see. That's what we finna see.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can't do that right now. My credit ain't bad. And I even I had this black realtor, and she was like, how your credit look? I was like, I don't even know.
Yeah.
And so what we did was she told me, let's go ahead and get you with a mortgage company.
Right.
And let's see if you can get pre-approved. And they'll tell you exactly what needs to be removed from your credit and what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Come to find out, I had the minimum, I think at the time it was like $580 or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I was pre-approved for $150,000 for a house. And I purchased my first house with that $150,000.
Wow, big up. That's not a small thing, man. I tell you, talk about $150,000. So I'm from San Francisco Bay Area, so $150,000, bro. Like, it cost me twice that much to redo my garage into a. So hey, get what you can. Bro.
The house that we actually settled on, it was worth $189, but
nice.
The realtor, she talked it down to fit our budget. And kudos to her for doing that, number one.
Yeah.
But I noticed, just talking to friends, talking to family that were still renting at the time, I was just telling them it's so easy. All you have to do is get pre-approved.
Yeah.
Do you think, why is there such a gap between credit with African Americans with other than other races?
I can tell you right now, other races had a 400-year head start. And by other races, I mean one other race had a 400-year head start. So, as far as credit goes, credit is a component of. That's just one component of what it takes for you to be in a good position, right? And I think with people that look like us, we don't have a wealth mindset because that was never taught to us. Right, so I get asked the question a lot. Hey, should I rent or should I buy? Right. So my perspective is this. Right. First, actually, it's twofold.
Right.
It's twofold. So your credit profile tells a story about you.
Right.
Right. I can look at a person's credit report before I even meet that person and have a good idea about the type of person that person is, about with respect to how they manage their business, how they take care of business, right? So I get asked the question, well, should I rent or should I buy, right? The first thing I always say is, well, survive first. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, survive first, because just take care of your situation first, and make sure that you're comfortable first, and then we'll have the conversation, right? So with credit, man, credit shows me your ability to keep your word, right? Now, there's certain things that are beyond our control. My credit was bad too.
Right.
I'm a real estate broker. I had going through that real estate debacle of 2007, 2008. I lost everything, right?
Right.
I lost everything. So my credit reflected that, right? But when I went to start fixing my credit, there's certain things that people were saying, like, well, you don't have to fix that. You can just let that fall off. Well, when that thing got on there, I gave that company my word that I would honor that debt. Right? So I filed for bankruptcy. So I filed for bankruptcy. I had to file for Chapter 7. So all that stuff got erased. Right? So I had to rebuild it. But there's certain things on people's, and this is outside of the bankruptcy process, right? So if you just have things you haven't paid on your credit, just pay those things. And I'm talking about like cell phone bill, right? Don't do. So people think it's all about credit score. It's not. It's about your credit profile as a whole, right? So don't be doing these payday loans, but that is the worst thing that you can have on your credit, right? Even if you're making the payments on time, it just looks bad, right? So. I think there's just as a culture, there needs to be a conversation about, okay, collectively, where do we need to be as a culture? Where do we need to be as a culture? And then individually, how do we do our part to make sure that we all get there, right? I mean, credit is one, that's buying power, right? I can leverage just off my credit. I can go somewhere and get $100,000 and take that $100,000 and turn it into $1 million in 18 months, right? If you don't have credit, then you're subject to whatever policies or systems in place, and a lot of these systems were designed to keep you down where you at it, right? So if you don't have credit, you are subject to all these things, and you become a victim of whatever systemic situation is going on at the time. So credit is big, man, and bro, and I'll be honest with you, I reached a point in my life where I just wanted to be a good person, right? And people say, all right, well, yeah, it's cool you want to be a good person, but your professional life and wealth and all these other things, that's a different conversation. No, it's not. Right. If you just, as soon as you decide you want to be a good person and operate in good faith and do the right thing, your credit profile represents who you are without people being able to meet you. So if I'm going to do business with somebody, and a lot of these somebodies have entities and they pull my credit, even if that business is not contingent upon me having good credit,
they look at your personal.
They'll look at my personal just to see what kind of person I am, right? So I want to let them know that, well, I honor my word, right? So how am I going to convince this person, yeah, I'm going to pay you back, but I got bad credit? And bad credit for no reason. Right. It's one thing for a real estate debacle to happen and you got to file for bankruptcy. At least that tells a story. Right. But if you just ain't paid your Verizon bill in 2 years, that reflects really, really poorly, man. So when we have a conversation about credit, it's okay. What do you want people to think of you before they meet you? Right. Well, your credit is how you can facilitate their perception of you. Right. So that's where I'm at with it, man. I can talk about that for 5 hours.
I love it. During this pandemic, a lot of my friends, including myself, we went out and we got LLCs. And we posted our certificate on the LLC.
It was on Instagram.
It was on the Instagram. We got all the likes. We got all the comments about it. Congratulations. Yeah. And what do we do now?
So that's a good question, right? Because I see a lot of people interested in business credit and all these other things, and so this is why I have an LLC. All right, liability protection and anonymity. Okay, those are the only two things. I don't want anybody to know that I own anything, and if I structure it properly, I won't own anything, but I'll control everything. Okay, so if you have an LLC, the first thing they ask is, all right, what are you going to do with that LLC? Just because you have an LLC doesn't mean anything, right? Like, once you have an LLC, then you have to fill out paperwork to elect how you want to be taxed, right? Do you want to be taxed as an S corp? And this isn't, I'm not a CPA, right? So I'm not giving tax advice. So I'm just talking about my personal experience. Right. So you got to elect how you want to be taxed. And then what's the purpose of that LLC? Then is that LLC generating revenue? Okay? So just having an LLC is like having a hammer, right? I can have a hammer in my pocket, but if I'm not building anything, it's just a hammer, right?
No nails.
Yeah, no nails.
Got a hammer, no nails.
Just a hammer, man, and you probably got the holster and everything. And just walking down Home Depot, with, you know what I'm saying? So, So it's so look, it's people need to kind of take a step back, right? So the first thing is, look, if you're working a regular job, and I don't care if you're working at Starbucks, like whatever it is you do, like this is where you start. If you want to be rich, if you want to be wealthy, this is where you start. Now, let's say you're making $15 an hour at your job. You're trading an hour of your life for $15 an hour. To the average person, that's not worth it, right? For example, if you're on your deathbed, right? Time becomes a lot more important to you, and trading an hour for $15 just doesn't seem reasonable. But if you're working a job and you're making $15 an hour, and you switch your mindset to a wealth mindset or an investor mindset or whatever mindset it's going to take to get you to the next level, you're going to start to look at that job through a different set of lenses. So you're making $15 an hour, but there are people that work where you work that are making a lot more than you. How'd they get there? How'd they get there? It's not just because they've been there a lot longer. So your job, right? If you can master your job, that means, all right, you're getting $15 an hour. You're here an hour. You're going to make $15. I'm going to look around at every single thing and see what I can learn while I'm here. Right? Because if that job can afford to pay you $15 an hour, they're doing something right.
Right.
Okay. So I'm going to do everything that I can. I'm going to soak up as much knowledge as I can, and I'm going to get promoted, and I'm going to be an outstanding employee. And that's the one thing about the real estate, the investing space or the entrepreneur space. There's almost a stigma there's almost a stigma associated with being an employee. I see a lot of fake entrepreneurs saying, just kind of minimizing having a regular job.
Right.
And I always ask them, like, okay, well, if you're a successful entrepreneur, don't you have employees?
Right.
Do you tell them that same BS?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So if you're working a regular job, I tell people, look, get everything you can out of it. If you think that you're just trading an hour for $15, your mindset isn't where it needs to be. Okay. You trade your time, that hour, but in return, not only do you get $15 an hour, you should be getting all the information and the knowledge that it takes to be successful in doing that. Right. Because the number one source of capital for starting new businesses is a regular job. Right. But if you coming in to work late, you trying to clock out early, you watching YouTube at work, you just wasting your time. You wasting your time. You're not ready to be wealthy. You're not ready to be rich. You're not ready to be an entrepreneur. Right. So you got to maximize every single opportunity that you can, and it starts with where you work. So that's usually where I tell people to start.
Right.
Like, start right there. And then once you've accumulated enough capital, now let's see what we can do with it.
Right.
I'm in the real estate investing space, but I also invest in securities, life insurance. I'm licensed in life insurance. I was in mortgage finance for 10 years. I'm a real estate broker in multiple states. So I look at life with a different set of lenses, right? Okay, so based on my situation right now, how can I double this money? Okay, I don't know. But that person knows. Let me have a conversation with that person. Matter of fact, let me pay that person to share everything that they know with me. Okay? I'm telling you, man, there used to be this show called Heroes on TV, right? And I'm like a nerd when it comes to like superpowers and all that. And there was this one dude, and his superpower was he could touch another hero and he would absorb whatever their power was, right? So if they could turn invisible, he'd touch him. Now he can turn invisible, right? And I was like, that is exactly what I do as an entrepreneur and real estate investor, right? You got, you're really good with money? Okay, I'm going to soak up your knowledge.
Right.
Now I'm really good with money. You're going to tell me everything you know about money.
Right.
Oh, you know how to do infinity banking and take one investment and multiply it times 4 and be able to create 4 investment vehicles that all generate returns? Okay, now I'm going to take that superpower, right?
Facts.
I'm telling you, man, it's like, I think us as a culture, man, we really got to be like on that same page, right?
I love it. I love it. Tell me this. So we have our LLC. How do we start business credit?
So there's and I'm not a business credit consultant. I actually hire people to work on my business credit. And keep in mind, I'm in the real estate investor space. My business credit is not used to buy real estate. It's used to expand my real estate business. So there's certain softwares that I use, and there's certain things to run my real estate business that I would use my business credit for. So I would hire a business credit consultant, right? Somebody that just works on how to improve your business credit profile, because they look at the laws. Because there are laws surrounding credit, right? And I'm not an expert, right? I'm just going off of what they say. So I paid a consultant to come in, look at my credit profile, and see what I can do to improve my credit profile. Now I got excellent credit individually, right? But there's certain things you can do in the beginning, like net 30 accounts that report to the credit bureaus.
And those are like your supply books, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I hired a business credit consultant, and the first thing that she did was she signed me up for these net 30 accounts. So I buy something, some paper, whatever, right? Because you got to buy something, right?
Right.
And they report to the credit bureaus. And then over time and organically, then your credit starts to build. You get a Dunn's number, Dun and Bradstreet number, and there's some other things. Like, I'm telling you, when it comes to business credit, I've got the intelligence of a 3-year-old, right? So I'm just regurgitating what she told me. But there's a way to improve your business credit organically. You just need to speak to somebody in that space and have them lay out a plan for you.
Right.
Yeah.
And once you get the business credit, how easy is it then to purchase property or a car or something like along those lines in your business name, in your business entity?
You don't need credit to purchase a house.
Right.
Like I can teach you how to purchase a house with no. That's a myth. You don't need money, and you don't need no credit.
Wow.
Right. And anybody that challenges that, I will give them a step-by-step process in how to purchase a piece of property without any credit. Now you have to. It takes a skill set, right? So as a real estate investor, you should be able to purchase a piece of property with no money out of pocket and no credit. Now your exit strategy may be contingent upon your credit, because when you purchase these assets, you're using hard money, right? Hard money that comes fast and it's high interest. It serves a specific purpose. Those loans aren't designed to go a long time, right? You're like 30 years, right? They'll bleed you to death, right? So your exit strategy may be contingent upon your personal credit. But I tell people, look, work on your personal credit first before you do anything.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, man, if I get in a jam, I can go to one of these consumer lending sites, whether it's lendingclub.com or Best Egg or whatever, and say, hey, I need 40 grand. And they'll just give it to me on the strength, right? That's what we say, on the strength. Right? So improve your personal credit first, and then we have the conversation. Yeah. So
how did your career start in investing? Like,
oh man, I was so my dad and I, right? So my dad can't throw a football. Like he can't throw a spiral. Right? And I was thinking about that the other day, like, his spiral sucks.
Wow.
I was remembering we went out and we played catch one time. I was like, I think I was 7 years old, and I was like, oh, this spiral sucks. Well, it sucks because we didn't play catch. He would take me out to real estate meetings, right? So at 5 years old, I used to sit for hours, like in these meetings. You know these old school cats, man. They'll get up there and get to talking for 3 and 4 hours. So I was 5 years old, man. I would sit there and I would just soak that stuff up. So at 8 years old, I could have a real estate conversation with an adult, right? So my whole life is real estate. But as an investor, it's a different mindset. And it was hard to make that shift, right? As a real estate broker, I'm facilitating deals for other people, right? But so I went and took some real estate investment training, like some formal training. I paid about 15 grand for this investment training. And I picked a company. At the time, it was the only publicly traded real estate investing training company. So publicly traded, it's governed by the SEC. So I knew it was, it had to be legit, right?
Right.
And I did that, man, and just, bro, these investment strategies were just hidden in plain sight. Like, I'm a real estate broker. I'm talking about, bro, it's 2021 right now. I've been doing this since 2001.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And these strategies were just hidden in plain sight.
Wow.
Like, you mean I can, like, all this time, I could have just bought a property with no money out of my own pocket, made 5 figures on the deal, kept the property, and had a cash flow $400 or $500 a month? Like, if you'd have told me that 10 years ago, I'd have said, nah, you've been watching them 2 in the morning infomercials. That's what you've been watching.
Right.
I'm telling you, bro, like, people that look like us, that information has been kept from us a really long time.
Facts.
Yeah.
They say you put it in the book.
Yeah.
Best place to hide
it. Amen. Amen. And I think there's conversations that surround that, like why we are as a culture where we are. Like, I get it. Like, we all know it. It's not a secret, right? But my question is, okay, now that we know all that, what are you going to do now? Right? Are you still spending, $2,000 on a Gucci bag and you ain't got no money to put in it? Right? I'll tell you what. I'll wear a Gucci belt, right? But that's because I got stock in the company that owns Gucci, and their dividends paid me, and with them dividends, I bought that belt.
Preach.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just, as a people, man, there's certain things that we have to get past. One is our self-portrait, like how we view ourselves, right? Not just collectively, but individually, right? Now, mind you, we live in a company that at one time told me I was 3/5 of a man. Like that was the people that make the laws and the rules told me I was only 3/5 of a man. Okay, so I understand how our self-portrait is impacted by our circumstances and kind of the dynamic with this country. But now that we know that, what you gonna do now? Right?
Change the narrative.
Yeah, you got to change the narrative. Like, what are you spending your money on? Right? Who are you trying to keep up with?
Right.
Because I'm gonna tell you right now, we got enough Bugattis in the black community. we got enough Lambos and Bugattis. Like, I get it, right?
Right.
You know, and who do you surround yourself with?
Right.
That's the most important. Who you surround yourself with. Let me say it one more time.
Right.
Who you surround yourself with, bruh, that is like a superpower. That will either drain you or empower you. I'm telling you, man.
What do you think about crypto? Are you investing in crypto? Everybody's talking about crypto right now.
I'm investing in crypto, man, but it's just because I'm diversifying and I want to be able to say I'm invested in crypto.
Like everybody else.
Yeah, that's the only reason I'm invested in crypto. Right. But the truth is, it's I don't speak on it because I can't speak intelligently about it. I understand blockchain technology. Right. I understand crypto, but real estate is in my blood. I can predict an outcome for real estate. Crypto, if I can't predict an outcome, then I kind of shy away from it. So I'll put a little something over there, man.
Right, little dab, just a little bit.
Little something over there.
That's smart. That's smart.
Yeah.
What do you see the future of real estate? And we got things like Airbnb. What do you see in the future?
Realtors are going away. Realtors are going to be gone, and I'm a licensed real estate broker, so I'm biased, right? Like I don't want realtors. They're going to be gone. Like technology is evolving way too fast, and we're one of the biggest lobbyists in Washington, right? The National Association of Realtors. Yeah. But I think at some point we're going to go away. I'm looking at it right now, and I don't see why we need us. Based on the technology out there right now and the amount, all the data points that you can check and all the research that you can do and the relationships that you can form,
virtual tours.
Yeah, all the virtual stuff. Yeah, I don't see why you need us.
Wow.
And that's probably not popular opinion in the realtor community, but I can come up with a plan to just erase us all right now. Right?
We don't want a big Thanos you right.
Yeah.
But
yeah, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
That seems very truthful, and yeah.
I just don't. I don't believe we're necessary, and I think we make too much.
Wow.
For what we do, and I'll probably get my house burned down for that.
Yeah, they're gonna come after you for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're speaking some facts. We got things like Airbnb, Peer Space. So just go through these things.
So when you talk about Airbnb, now the short-term rental market, bro, just the cash flow you can generate in the short-term rental market is astounding. Like it's astounding. Like my best investments today, my best cash flowing investments are eclipsed by the cash flow that you can create doing short-term rentals. Not just Airbnb, because Airbnb is a platform.
Right.
But short-term rentals, there's multiple platforms that you can tie together to generate cash flow.
Wow.
It's just I'm shifting into the short-term rental space. I'm looking at getting 10 doors by the end of this year.
It's a lot of money in it.
Oh, it's stupid. It's stupid money.
Wow.
Bro, I was joking with somebody the other day. I was like, look, bro, we gonna walk outside one day. Ain't gonna be no more hotels. It's gonna be all short-term rentals.
I said that too, but some of these fees on these Airbnbs now is getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think the last time I went on a trip, I did a hotel. I was like, it's too expensive.
Yeah, it's there's multiple platforms. So when you move into the short-term rental space, you got to have systems to be able to be able to direct bill people. Right. You've got to have systems to be able to put all the platforms together and be able to schedule. Because it's a business, right? So there's systems that you need to be in place. There's systems that need to be in place for you to run your business. But man, it's just, and I'm in the due diligence phase, man, and I'll research something to death, and every point that I get to, every conclusion that gets drawn from my research is just short-term rentals is the way to go, man. The only question is, do you want to own the building that you're doing, or do you want to do arbitrage, which basically means you lease from somebody, and then you do your short-term rentals through that lease.
Right. And
bro, I'm telling you, you're gonna see a big shift in the real estate investor community with respect to short-term rentals and where people go with that.
Woo. A lot of knowledge tonight. Where can people find you? Where can people, because I know you do like lectures, you got your online training.
Yeah.
Where can people get information from you from?
So man, Clubhouse, like at James Street Capital, like James JamesST Capital, is my Clubhouse. I do rooms like 3 days a week, and I just love giving away information.
Yeah.
Right, and I do it like California time, 7:30 a.m. Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays.
Okay.
My website is otisjames.com. So I do mentorship programs, and in my mentorship program, we do group sessions, one-on-one sessions, and I created the platform because of the demand, especially with people that look like us. I'm like, I got to teach us how to be real estate investors.
Facts.
So my goal is to create 1,000 real estate investors. So we do one-on-ones and coaching sessions, and then we have weekly coaching sessions that go on forever, and I guide people through their first investments and their second and third. And these folks, I only do 25 at a time, right? So if 100 people come to sign up, I got to turn away 75 off bat.
Wow.
Because it's not about how much money I can make doing it. It's about creating real estate investors, right? And somebody told me something. He said, it was a really good quote. He said, "Hey man, you can't lead them if you need them," right? And so I don't do it for the money, right? Now I gotta, like, if I'm doing that, that means there's an opportunity cost. That means I'm not real estate investing, so I do have to charge for it, because otherwise I'll probably just go broke. 'Cause all my time will go to that. Right?
Facts.
Yeah, but if it went away tomorrow, my quality of life would not change.
Yeah.
Right. So I really pour into people, like the pop up we did today, man.
Yeah.
Like I'll pop up in the city and just be like, send a text out, say, "Hey, I'm here at A, B, and C coffee shop," and whoever comes out, man, I give them $10,000 worth of information in an hour or an hour and 15 minutes. Right. Because I need people that look like me. And even people, now when I say people that look like me, I'm not excluding people that don't look like me.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, everybody else got a 400-year head start, so we just need to catch up.
Facts.
So I need the people that look like me to start thinking about wealth, what we're going to pass down to our kids, and how we're going to change the narrative in this country, man, because we have power, we're just not tapping into it.
Woo. Let's go.
But man, yeah.
Man, it's been an honor, man. Thank you for dropping these gems on us tonight.
Anytime.
Culture Trap Podcast, Kane Rawls, Odis D. James III.
Huh.
Let's go.